History remembers kings, emperors, and conquerors, but few have reshaped the world with the sheer force of their will, the way Napoleon Bonaparte did. His story does not begin in a palace or in the halls of power, but on a remote, rugged island in the Mediterranean, far from the centers of European influence. Yet from this unlikely beginning, a legend would rise. He was born in Corsica, a land proud, rebellious, and fiercely independent, and as a young boy, he watched his people struggle under foreign rule, igniting a fire that would never leave him, the desire to rise above circumstance. To many, he was just another outsider, but to himself, he was destined for greatness. At 9 years old, he was sent to France for education, alone, unable to speak the language clearly, mocked for his accent, his origins, and his small frame. Yet where others saw weakness, the young Napoleon saw opportunity. He buried himself in books, mastering mathematics, history, and military theory. Every insult became fuel, every hardship became a lesson, and though he rarely spoke, he observed everything. The boy dismissed as a foreigner was quietly sharpening his mind for the world he intended to claim. He studied great generals, Alexander, Hannibal, and Caesar, and imagined how he would surpass them. Even as a child, he wrote about ambition, destiny, and the desire to shape history. His teachers reported a strange combination, a calm, disciplined student with a storm burning behind his eyes. He was not physically imposing or socially polished, but his will was iron, and in the silence of his dorm room, he whispered promises only he could hear, that he would rise, that he would do great things. The France he entered was unstable, divided, and heading toward revolution, a perfect environment for someone who saw opportunity. While the world around him crumbled, he grew sharper, more focused. He trained relentlessly, studied warfare obsessively, and waited for the moment when the world would finally notice him. And history did notice. In the fires of revolution, in the clash of armies, and in the struggle for a new France, this quiet outsider began to stand out. He wasn't born into nobility. He wasn't chosen by destiny. He carved his path with discipline, intelligence, and an unbreakable belief in his own abilities. The boy from Corsica transformed into a young officer whose confidence and clarity of purpose dwarfed seasoned commanders. But this documentary is not just about his victories or his empire. It is about the qualities that shaped Napoleon from the beginning. Ambition that never wavered, discipline that never cracked, a mind that strategized far ahead of his enemies, and a heart that believed he was meant for something extraordinary. Long before he held power, these inner forces pushed him forward. They guided every decision, every sacrifice, every battle he would one day fight. These were the foundations of the man the world would come to fear, admire, and study. His rise was no accident. It was engineered by will. Before the battles, before the crown, before the world knew his name, there was a determined young boy standing alone against the world, refusing to be ordinary. His story begins not with power, but with struggle, not with glory, but with hunger. And from that hunger rose a man who would change the course of history. This is the journey into the mind of Napoleon, the rise of a legend, and the qualities that built an empire. His path serves as a reminder that greatness is never handed to anyone. It is forged, piece by piece, through relentless ambition and unshakable belief. Chapter 2: Humble Origins and Early Ambition. Napoleon Bonaparte's journey begins far from mainland Europe, on the rugged and politically turbulent island of Corsica. Born into a modest family shortly after the island was taken by France, he grew up with a deep awareness of being an outsider, neither fully Corsican nor fully French. This divided identity shaped the fire inside him, a quiet determination to rise above whatever limits society placed on him. Surrounded by proud, rebellious people, young Napoleon absorbed a culture of resistance and ambition. These early experiences built the foundation of his hunger for greatness long before he ever stepped onto the soil of France. At just 9 years old, Napoleon was sent to France for schooling, far from home, family, and familiarity. Alone in a foreign country, he struggled with the language and was mocked for his accent, appearance, and humble background. But instead of breaking, he hardened. Introverted and observant, he spent hours reading, studying, and watching others. his disciplined nature began to shine. While others played, he absorbed mathematics, history, and military principles with unusual intensity. The classroom was not just a place of learning for him. It was a battleground where he sharpened the mind that would one day command empires. In the military academy, Napoleon's brilliance became impossible to ignore. His grasp of mathematics, artillery science, and strategic thinking surpassed that of many older students. Teachers described him as serious, focused, and driven by something deeper than ambition, an internal certainty that he was meant for more. Every insult about his origins pushed him to work harder. Every challenge strengthened his discipline. In silence, he built the qualities that would define him: relentless ambition, iron self-control, and an unshakable belief in his own destiny. These early years proved that true greatness is forged not by privilege, but by struggle, determination, and vision. Chapter 3. The Brilliant Strategist. Napoleon's rise as a brilliant strategist truly began at Toulon in 1793, where a young, little-known artillery officer saw what others couldn't. While senior commanders hesitated, Napoleon crafted a bold plan to seize key forts and choke the British fleet. His strategy worked: swift, precise, devastating, and the victory instantly marked him as a rising star in France. It was the first clear proof of a mind built for war, and a glimpse of the tactical genius the world would soon fear. During the Italian campaign, Napoleon transformed entire armies through sheer speed and creativity. His style of warfare, fast, fluid, fearless, shocked Europe. He split enemy forces, struck from unexpected angles, and pushed exhausted soldiers with speeches that lit a fire inside them. Each victory expanded not just France's territory, but Napoleon's legend. His decisiveness under pressure became his signature, and his troops knew one thing: when Napoleon led, impossible victories became possible. The Egyptian campaign showed another side of his strategic mind: ambitious and daring, but also risky. Napoleon aimed to disrupt British trade routes and bring French influence to the east. Though battles like the pyramids displayed his brilliance, the campaign exposed the limits of even his genius. Yet, through hardship, disease, and uncertainty, Napoleon's innovative thinking persisted. His ability to adapt and push forward, even in failure, cemented his legacy as a commander who never feared the unknown. Chapter 4. Master of Psychology and Motivation. Napoleon understood something few commanders ever grasped. Wars are not won by weapons alone, but by the minds and hearts of the men who carry them. He walked among his soldiers, knew many by name, asked about their families, their wounds, their hopes. To them, he wasn't a distant general, he was one of their own. This connection gave him a power no enemy could measure: the ability to lift tired men from despair and turn them into an unstoppable force. He shared their hardships, sleeping on the ground beside them, marching through storms, eating the same coarse bread. Soldiers saw it, felt it, and loved him for it. When Napoleon spoke, they listened not because they feared him, but because they trusted him. His charisma was not loud, it was personal. Every gesture told them, "I am with you," and for that, they would follow him anywhere. His speeches became legendary, crafted with simple words that struck straight into a soldier's soul. "A soldier will fight long and hard for a bit of colored ribbon," he said, and he proved it. Medals, honors, and recognition were tools he used with mastery, shaping the morale of an entire army. Through emotional intelligence and deep understanding of human desires, Napoleon inspired loyalty, so fierce that even defeat could not erase it. This was his greatest victory, conquering hearts before conquering nations. Chapter 5. Administrative Reformer. Beyond the battlefield, Napoleon proved that true power comes not just from winning wars, but from building systems that outlive the sword. His greatest achievement, the Napoleonic Code, reshaped society by establishing equality under the law, protecting property rights, and simplifying centuries of confusing legal traditions. For millions, it was the first time justice felt accessible. This was Napoleon's vision of order: clear, rational, and built to last. Education became another pillar of his reform. Through the creation of lycées, he built a national system designed to train future administrators, officers, and scholars. These schools were not just classrooms. They were factories of discipline and merit. Any boy with talent could rise, no matter his background. Napoleon understood that a strong nation is built on educated minds, not noble titles. To stabilize the economy, he founded the Banque de France, giving the country a reliable financial backbone after years of chaos. This reform restored confidence, encouraged investment, and ensured the state could function efficiently. Each administrative change revealed his organizational mastery and long-term thinking. Napoleon wasn't simply ruling France. He was rebuilding it, brick by brick, with a focus on meritocracy and stability that would influence nations far beyond his own. Chapter 6. The Empire Builder. Napoleon's transformation from first consul to emperor in 1804 marked the moment when ambition, discipline, and strategic brilliance fused into a single unstoppable force. France, exhausted by years of chaos, looked to him for order, and he answered with a vision larger than any leader of his time. His coronation was not just a political act, it was a declaration of destiny. Napoleon believed he was building not a kingdom, but an era. Once in power, he expanded France into a European empire through speed, strategy, and sheer will. One by one, nations fell or bent to his influence. His reforms strengthened the state, his armies shaped the continent, and his leadership gave France a momentum that seemed impossible to stop. He ruled with authority and clarity, directing diplomacy, war, and administration with the precision of a master architect. But alongside his brilliance grew a rising ego. Victory after victory convinced him that his vision was flawless, that his destiny could not be challenged. This confidence fueled his grand achievements, yet also planted the seeds of future downfall. Still, as an empire builder, Napoleon's drive, scale of vision, and dominance as a leader remain unmatched. He didn't just lead an empire, he carved it from the map with his own hands. Chapter 7. Flaws and Overreach. Even the greatest leaders carry flaws, and for Napoleon, those flaws grew in the same soil as his genius. His confidence, sharpened by years of victory, slowly turned into overconfidence. The Russian invasion became the clearest example. Believing he could conquer the vast empire with the same speed he used in Europe, he marched in with a massive army, only to face brutal winter, burned cities, and impossible supply lines. What began as a campaign of glory ended as a catastrophic retreat. In Spain, the Peninsular War revealed another weakness: impatience. Napoleon underestimated the Spanish spirit and the power of guerrilla warfare. He believed sheer force and strategy could bend the country to his will, but the resistance drained his strength, his resources, and his focus. The war became a slow bleed, proof that not every battle could be won through brilliance alone. These failures exposed a deeper flaw: Napoleon's inability to step back from ambition. He pushed forward even when caution demanded retreat, driven by the belief that his destiny lay in constant expansion. His genius built an empire, but his overreach cracked its foundation. In studying his flaws, we see the full truth of Napoleon: brilliant, powerful, unstoppable, yet ultimately undone by the very fire that made him extraordinary. Chapter 8. Fall and Exile. By 1814, after years of continual war and mounting losses, Napoleon faced the unthinkable: forced abdication. The empire he had carved across Europe collapsed under the weight of alliances, exhaustion, and his own overreach. Yet even in this moment of defeat, a different side of Napoleon emerged. Stripped of power and title, he confronted his own humanity. No armies, no thrones, just a man facing the consequences of his ambition. Exiled to Elba, Napoleon did not sink into despair. Instead, he rebuilt himself piece by piece. He reorganized the island, improved roads, reformed administration, and reignited his sense of purpose. This period showed his resilience, the ability to rise even when the world believed he was finished. Elba was meant to be his end, but Napoleon turned it into a rehearsal for his return. That return came in the legendary 100 days, when he sailed back to France and reclaimed leadership without firing a single shot. Town after town joined him, soldiers returned to his side, and Europe trembled once more. It was his final attempt at greatness, a last surge of the fire that had shaped his life. But at Waterloo, miscalculations, divided command, and fate itself closed the chapter. His defeat revealed not weakness, but human vulnerability. Even legions fall, but they fall in a way the world never forgets. Chapter 9. Legacy of a Giant. Napoleon's legacy reaches far beyond the battles he fought. His greatest civilian achievement, the Napoleonic Code, still shapes legal systems across the world today. Clear laws, equality before justice, and protection of property. What he wrote for France became a framework for modern nations, proving that his influence survived long after his empire faded. In military academies from Europe to America, his campaigns are still studied as masterpieces of movement, timing, and psychological warfare. Generals learn from his victories, but also from his mistakes. Napoleon remains the blueprint for strategy, both the brilliance that wins wars and the overreach that loses them. He is remembered as a hero by some, a tyrant by others, but always as a genius whose life refuses to fit a simple label. He was ambitious, disciplined, resilient, charismatic, and visionary. He was also flawed, driven by an intensity that lifted him to greatness and pushed him toward downfall. Napoleon's legacy is not just what he built, but what he revealed about human potential. That one person, with enough will, can bend the world, but never without consequence.